For this tutorial, you'll need a 4.5mm hook, weight for yarn in 2 colors, a darning needle, and a pair of scissors. Just in case you guys are curious, here are the 2 yarns that I'll be using, and I got both of these from Joann's craft store. So start off with your 4.5mm hook and your main body yarn, and attach a slip knot to your hook. Now we're going to chain 44. In order to do so, yarn over and pull through the loop, like so, and repeat until you have 44. Once you're finished, look for the second chain from your hook, and into that second chain, insert a single crochet by inserting your hook, yarning over and pulling through, and yarning over, pulling through 2 loops. Now repeat this process until you reach the end of the chain. At the end of your row, you're going to chain 1, and for every row for this project, we're going to chain 1, so please keep this in mind. So turn your work over, and into the stitch adjacent to your chain 1, start single crocheting, and again, you're going to single crochet all around the top of your row. Again, at the end, chain 1, turn your work, and you're going to repeat this process of regular single crochet rows and chaining 1 at the end until you have a total of 7 rows. At the end of your 7th row, chain 1, and work 11 single crochets, but on your 11th one, don't yarn over all the way through and keep the 2 loops on your hook. Now on this 11th stitch, you're just going to leave the 2 loops on your hook and take your accent yarn. I'll be using this super cute silver color. And so form a loop like this and feed it into your hook and pull it through the 2 loops. And so this is going to be the tapestry method, and if you'd like a more in-depth tutorial, then I'll link a video in the description down below. And so this is how we're going to switch between colors. Now insert your hook into the next stitch, and make sure that your hook is below the tail and your white yarn, and we're just essentially going to be crocheting on top of the tail and the other color. And so yarn over, and you're just going to leave the 2 loops on your hook again and switch back to the white color, and with that white color, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So this is how we're going to do 1 single crochet of a different color. And so we're going to take our main yarn and now do 20 single crochets, and make sure to single crochet on top of the other color and the tail. Now on your 20th stitch, again, don't complete the stitch, instead leave the 2 loops on your hook. Now we're going to switch back to our accent color. So you're just going to switch the yarn over, pull through, and again we're going to crochet on top of the white color now, yarn over, pull through 1, and switch back to your white color, and yarn over, pull through both. Again, that is 1 single crochet of the accent color. Now with your main color, single crochet until you reach the end of your row. At the end, of course, chain 1, turn your work, and what I like to do is to have a front side and a back side, and the front side is going to be a little neater, and we're going to be working on the back side for our 2nd row. And what this means is that when we switch our yarn color, we're going to keep it in the front, and you'll see what I mean when we start. And so I'm just going to crochet on top of the accent yarn, except keep it facing me instead of the back. Now with your main color yarn, single crochet 11. And on that 11th stitch, you're going to change colors. So take your accent yarn and pull it through the 2 loops. And what you're going to do is 2 single crochets with your accent yarn. And on that second single crochet, don't pull all the way through because you're going to change back to your main color yarn. And again, don't forget to put your other color yarn facing you. And make sure to not tangle up your yarn like I did in this clip. And of course I fixed it later on, but be mindful in the beginning. Now do 16 single crochets with your main yarn, and on your 16th single crochet, you're going to change colors to your accent yarn. On your 16th stitch, switch colors, and do 3 single crochets with the accent color. And on that 3rd stitch, change back to your main color yarn. And then after that, just single crochet with that same color until you reach the end. Chain 1 for the new row, turn your work, and we're going to be working on the front side once again. So this means that when we crochet on top of another color, we're going to keep it facing the back. Now start with 12 single crochets with your main color yarn. On that 12th stitch, you're going to change colors. And with that accent color, do 3 single crochets. On that 3rd single crochet, switch colors to your main color. And do 13 single crochets with the main color. On that 13th stitch, you're going to change to your accent color and single crochet 4 with that color, and change back to your main color on that 4th stitch and single crochet until the end of your row. So for the next 32 rows, you're going to follow this chart, which I will leave in the description down below. And don't worry, it's not as complicated as it may seem. So you'll probably notice that there are odd numbers on the right side of the chart and even numbers on the left side of the chart. And what this signifies is that if you are doing an odd number row, you're going to read the chart from right to left, whereas if you're starting an even number row, you're going to read the chart from left to right. So we've been doing the first 10 rows of this chart. So we did our 7 regular single crochets and then 3 rows of this tapestry method. And we've been going like this if we've been reading the chart. And for our 10th row, we were here and we read the chart like this. So the 11th row that you're going to start, you're going to read from the right side, starting at the number 11, and read it like this. And then on your 12th row, you're going to read like this. You've probably noticed that we switch colors right before the actual crochet, and let me just re-demonstrate. In this row, we're going to do these 4 single crochets of the silver color, and I'm just going to do 1 single crochet, and these 4 are going to be the silver. And so in the stitch right before our first color change, that's when we're going to switch colors like this. And then we're going to go ahead and do the single crochets. And once you're on the final stitch of your accent color, you're going to switch your color right there. And then keep going. And so this is how we'll get the 4 stitches for these 4. Now hopefully this explanation cleared a little bit of the confusion that you may have had, but if you have more questions, feel free to leave your comments in the description down below. Now like I said, keep using this method until you reach your 42nd row. So once you reach your last and final stitch, what you're going to do to fasten off is to take your accent yarn and you're going to chain one like this, and then take your main color yarn, chain one like this, and then you're going to take your scissors and fasten off both. And if you pull the strings like this, it'll make a nice knot. And that's it for the main panel of your bag. In my opinion, this is so cute, and don't worry if the back side is messy like this because it's going to be facing the inside of the bag. So you have two choices for your next step. If you want your bag to have stars on both sides, then you're just going to repeat exactly what we did and make this same panel. However, if you want your bag to only have a star on one side and the other side to be blank, then you're going to just do the exact same thing, same dimensions, same amount of rows, except no star. So just use your main color yarn, and that's what I will be doing. So what you're going to do is just chain 44 and do 42 rows of regular single crochet. So I've completed my two panels, one blank and one with a star, and the next step is to connect the edges together. And in order to do so, sandwich the right sides together so that the wrong sides are facing you, and line up the panels together. And what we're going to do is slip stitch all around these three edges so that this part will be the opening, and we're going to use our hook to do this. However, if you have a darning needle, you can always use it to weave the edges together. But if you're going to use a crochet hook, find the top left corner and take the yarn of your main color, form a slip knot, and insert it into your hook. And insert your hook into the top left corner of both panels like this. And what you're going to do is slip stitch by yarning over and pulling through both panels and the loop on your hook. And then I would recommend pulling on the yarn a little bit to secure it. And now slip stitch all around these three edges in order to connect the bag together. So once you get to the end, don't fasten off. Instead, chain one and flip your work back. And what you're going to do is do one more row of single crochet all around your work. So start single crocheting in the stitch adjacent to your chain one and keep crocheting until you reach the beginning again. Now find your first stitch from the row and slip stitch and fasten off. Now flip your work inside out. So the final step for this bag is to make the shoulder straps. So take your main color yarn and add a slip knot to your hook. And the length and orientation of the strap is customizable to you, but I'll let you know how I decide to do mine. So I decided to put my straps 2 inches away from the edge, and of course, like I said, this is customizable to you. So I'm just going to insert my hook where the tape measure ends, just about here, and I'm just going to slip stitch to connect the yarn, And what you're going to do is chain until you have the length of your desired strap, and I'll let you know how many chains I decide to do. So I did about 75 stitches, and the next step is to slip stitch into the other side. And what I'm going to do is take my tape measure and reference where it reaches 2 inches and slip stitch into that spot right there. And one thing to be very careful of is to make sure that your chain is straight and not twisted. And to make sure that it's not, just run your fingers through just to make sure that it is not twisted in any way. So in my case, I'm good. So I'm just going to slip stitch to attach the chain to the other side of the bag. Now turn your work like this, and you're going to slip stitch into the stitch that is adjacent to your chain to the left right here. And you're going to start single crocheting all around your chain until you reach the end. Now once you reach the end, slip stitch into the stitch that is adjacent to your chain right here, and slip stitch one more time into the next stitch. Turn your work, and once again single crochet all around your strap. So once you finish your last stitch, slip stitch once again, and that is it for your strap. So now you can fasten off and repeat this process for the other side. Last but not least, take your darning needle and weave in the loose ends into the inside of your work. And that is it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this.